Live at 4, this is 13 News Now.
Good evening, and thank you for joining us on 13 News Now at 4. I'm Janet Roach.
And I'm Regina Mobley. Tonight we have new information about one of the suspects accused in the death of a Norfolk preschool teacher. Taniqua Cushman had a court appearance today. She and Edward Shaw are accused of killing Caroline Hendricks on New Year's Eve. 13
News Now reporter Stephen Graves is live in Norfolk. And Stephen, you've been through court documents.
Yeah, Janet, Regina, we've been trying to get information all day. We still don't know a motive in this case or how exactly Taniqua Cushman is connected, but those court documents give us a little bit more of insight into her background and when she was arrested yesterday. Now, no cameras were in court today, but take a look at this picture. This is how Cushman looked as she made her first court appearance today. Now, the judge said that she was not to be given a court-appointed attorney, and she has to retain her own. That's usually because the suspect makes enough money to do so. Now, Cushman is charged with conspiracy to commit second-degree murder. She was arrested yesterday. Court documents say she has a fiance in the area. That was her only family tie here, and she did work for a heating and air conditioning company during the time of the alleged crime. Now, we called her workplace. They refused to comment, and it's still unclear if she even knew 50-year-old Caroline Hendricks, the Norfolk preschool teacher who was shot dead in her car. On top of that, Cushman's co-defendant, 70-year-old Edward Shaw, who is charged with pulling the trigger, he did not appear in court today due to being in the hospital. But according to those court documents, Cushman was on probation or parole during the time that she was arrested. There was a charge out against her that's still pending. We're going to explain more about that and what else we found coming up on 13 News Now at 5. For now, live in Norfolk, I'm Stephen Graves, 13 News Now.
All right, what a difference a day makes. Our temperatures are down about 20 degrees from this time yesterday, and it's going to get a little colder this week.
Evan, you're looking at a shift in the wind.
That's right, and that shift in the wind will mean even colder temperatures tomorrow, but there has been certainly a big drop as we take a look at the 24-hour temperature change. As you mentioned, down about 19, 20 degrees in most spots, the exception up across the eastern shore and down towards Manio, but again, many spots 15, 20 degrees colder than where we were at this time yesterday. So take a live look outside. Beautiful shot here of downtown Norfolk and Portsmouth. Just a few high, thin clouds. We'll look for a few more clouds moving in a little bit later on this evening. We'll call it partly cloudy skies later tonight, but right now 54 with lots of sunshine. Winds are calm and the humidity is at 34%. So as we go through the evening, we're looking at a few more clouds rolling in the next 6 hours or so. Readings dropping from where they are now to about 50 at 5 p.m. 41 by 9, and notice by 11 o'clock temperatures in the upper 30s, but also notice those icons there indicating that clouds will be on the increase just a little bit later on tonight. And then looking ahead towards the next several days, this roller coaster ride continues today. We're up around 55 degrees or so. We'll drop down to 44 for Thursday. Then we'll go right back up as we look ahead towards the weekend into the 60s and another drop early next week. I'll detail that out a little bit more and talk about which of these days we might see some rain coming up in a few minutes.
All right, thanks, Evan. Developing now in Gloucester County, parents say bullying is a growing problem inside the schools. Many parents are voicing their concerns on social media. Some even started a Facebook group called GCPS, Community Against Bullying, to share stories with one another. Parents plan to attend tonight's budget work session, demanding more funding going toward programs to address bullying.
This is a community that is coming together to say, look, we are fed up. We are now turning it back to you. What are you going to do for us as parents?
Parents also plan to show up at the February 13th school board meeting.
New information about a former congressional candidate accused of fraud. Democrat Sean Brown appeared in Norfolk federal court this afternoon. Christina Zerjeko has the latest details.
Sean Brown had an arraignment today on charges of fraud and theft of government property. The U.S. Attorney's Office says Brown stole money from the USDA's Summer Food Service program. The alleged theft happened when she worked for a nonprofit outreach group that was helping feed children during the summer. This was back in 2012, several years before she ran for the seat in the 2nd Congressional District. She lost that race to Republican Scott Taylor in 2016. Today in court, she entered a not guilty plea. Her next court date is June 12th. Coming up at 5 o'clock, hear what Brown had to say about this case.
A suspect is behind bars accused of setting a funeral home on fire in Norfolk. Harold Wayne Centers is also accused of starting the flames to cover up a felony in burglary. Norfolk police got the call about the burglary alarm at Smith and Williams Funeral Home on Norview Avenue just before 3 this morning. Police say they saw a man leaving the building when they got there and believe that man was Centers. Centers is in jail without bond.
Hampton Roads is about to lose a toy store. The Toys R Us on Jefferson Avenue in Newport News is closing. It is one of more than 180 locations the company is getting rid of. Last year, Toys R Us filed for bankruptcy. Closing the stores is part of bankruptcy reorganization plans. Going out of business sales are scheduled to begin in February and be completed in April.
Fewer routes and slightly higher fares. Those are some suggestions for the North Carolina ferry system. NCDOT has just released a new study about the cost efficiency of the ferry system. According to the report, the state could save $1.5 million by reducing season crossings, off-season crossings, that is, and the state could raise revenue by reevaluating fare prices. The General Assembly will take a closer look at the report and decide whether to act on it when the session starts in May. Tonight, there's a chance to learn more about the Currituck Station Mega Site project. That's a proposed development that would cover more than 3,000 acres outside of Moyock, right along the Virginia border. It would include commercial and residential projects. Tonight's meeting lets the public weigh in on the plans. It's from 5:30 to 7:30 at the Moyock Elementary School gymnasium.
Today, Norfolk, a new center open to help veterans and their families find jobs. It is called the Hampton Roads Veterans Employment Center. 13 News Now reporter Regina tells us how the center is helping vets transition from military to civilian life.
Here at the Hampton Roads Veteran Employment Center, veterans and their family members are getting help to find jobs. Opportunity Incorporated is actually teaming up with the Chamber of Commerce as well as other businesses to employ vets. Now, the center will provide networking events, job search help, and assess people's skills to transition them from the military to jobs in the community. The center is located in Norfolk off of Glen Rock Road near Military Circle Mall. And Nancy Stevens with Opportunity Inc. says the goal is to keep veterans in the Hampton Roads area.
Veterans need a place to come where they know they're working with other veterans, people that care about them and that are going to give them the attention they need.
And coming up at 5, we'll hear from a veteran and what he says is key to transitioning from military to civilian life and finding a job. Reporting in Norfolk, I'm Erin LeBeau, 13 News Now.
Virginia's new governor says it's time to get more money for teachers. Governor Ralph Northam spoke to the School Board Association this week. He says the state needs to raise teacher pay. Governor Northam thinks that would attract and keep top teacher talent in the Commonwealth's public schools. The governor says Virginia's teachers make $7,500 less than the national average.
Attorney General Jeff Sessions will visit Norfolk on Friday. We're told Sessions will talk about national security and the administration's immigration priorities. Just last week, Special Counsel Robert Mueller's team questioned the Attorney General as part of the Russia investigation. He's the first member of the cabinet to be questioned. Stay with 13 News Now. We'll be covering his speech at the Slover Library.